Hey folks, it's Ridgar. How you doing? Welcome back to Boulder Canyon here in FS19. I'm just letting that one carry on there, and you may notice that we've still got the patches in the field. And right, that's hired help going there, so we can we can use the button to jump away from them. Yeah, you may notice that we've still got the patches in the field. That is because most of the people that answered about the whole do we or don't we put the stuff on the ground said... No, hang on a minute. I'm looking at this. Which way do I want to have the fertilizer? Do we or don't we put the stuff on the ground? Do we or don't we... Right, I want to go round the whole field and then we do that top bit second. We do that top bit again. Do we or don't we use, like, do I try and get rid of the tree stumps in my own time, or do I do it as part of the series by getting the place anywhere mod going and then using that so that we can lower the terrain and work our way around it? Something that surprised me was the number of people that said, please do it as part of the series. You know, that would be a thing. If you got deep tree stumps in a field, well, you would need to actually go and dig said tree stumps out of the field in order to be able to make the field active. Well, not active, to be able to make the field useful. So that is something that we're going to do. I am actually going to do that as part of the series. So I've got the Place Anywhere mod active for today. I will probably remove it in the future because it does reduce the cost of the actual landscaping. So I'll remove that later on, but for today we will use it, which means that we're going to be using it for just digging a hole, and I need to actually change this. Not pounds either. We want dollars and we want miles. So I'm going to use it to dig a hole and plant to remove the tree stumps. I'm just going to let the hired help finish doing the planting there first, and then we will go up into the other field, and we will start doing that. I'm going to get the fertilizer sprayed as well. If I get all of this spread out onto the land first, we can just sort of... Then we've only got like the top bit still to do after planting, and we can worry about all of it then. So I'm just going to work my way up and down the field using the fertilizer spreader at the moment. We're going to need to go and refill this one. Come round up like that. And then go back over it again. Oh, I think I missed a tiny little bit there. That's alright. But if it's just a tiny little bit like that, it's not really going to matter. So there are a few tree stumps over near the hired help housing. And then there are several tree stumps in the middle of the field. I did a test on it and had a look just to see if there were actually tree stumps there and see if that was what was causing the issue. And yes, I can confirm that is what was causing the issue. It surprised me, though. It genuinely surprised me just how many there were. I think it's to do with how the map was made. I think that some of the trees were set a little bit too low, so our stump grinder didn't properly remove them. That's fine. We'll be able to use the ground modification thing, the landscaping, and we'll be able to dig them out. And I know I said that I didn't want to use the landscaping too much, and we're not going to be using the landscaping too much, but I do think that it's quite acceptable to use the landscaping for this particular job, because what we're doing is we're going to an area that is got some issues, and we're digging some holes into the ground, and then we're going to be putting it right. And I think that's absolutely fine. I think there's no issue with that whatsoever. Right, we've got no fertilizer left in here, so let's go first and refill this one. I think it's absolutely fine us doing that. We're not changing how the actual field looks. We're not completely redoing how the terrain looks or anything like that. All we're doing is we're going along and we're removing something that is causing us an issue with our farm, and that's actually something that you would go and do. I mean, we don't have tools to go and do that. We don't have like a digger that we can go along. We can excavate an area of ground, which that would be ideal. So as we don't have that, we'll be using the landscaping tools instead, and we'll just say that we're borrowing an excavator and we're bringing it in, and that's what we're using. So I think that's absolutely fine. I think that is a perfectly acceptable way of doing this. We want to get the fertilizer spread first, because we've got well, there's a little bit of work that we've still got to do. If we can get the fertilizer spread on the land first, then we'll be able to come back over it later. The one thing I'm not sure about is, because we're using the landscaping tool, it's going to turn that land back into normal land, into an unplowed state. So we're going to have to go back over with the cultivator and do it again. And that bit's fine. I've got no issues with that bit. But where the issue might come in is whether or not we've got to go and fertilize it all again. I know that we're going to have to use the mower and that again. Not the mower, the seed drill and that again. We'll have to do all that again. But it's the other bit that I'm curious about. Are we going to need to actually put the fertilizer back in? Is it going to keep the fertilizer there, or is it going to delete the layer of fertilizer that we've applied? Because we're going over it and ploughing it up, and anywhere that we cut the grass beforehand, it's got fertilizer there. That bit it remembers. But is it going to do the same for the rest of it? That's the bit I'm not quite sure about. So the hired help is just about finished now doing all of the planting. So we know that the planting down that end is working absolutely fine. There's this patch up here that it didn't like. So we know that there was a couple of tree stumps up here. And then there's a patch down the other end that it didn't like as well. On the slope, there's a couple of patches down there that we're going to have to look at. And we'll get those done as well. So I'll come down through. I'll do the longer runs up here first. And we will put fertilizer all the way across this. Despite the tree stumps and everything, I'm going to put fertilizer all the way across it, because it'll answer this little question as to whether or not it's going to be an issue for us, or if it's going to just do something nice and simple and leave the fertilizer there so that we don't have to worry about it. I'll miss a bit and then come around. That's the one thing, when you're turning like that, it always misses that little bit on the inside. So you've got to go much, much tighter to the inside pass than you would otherwise. Alright, you've really got to hug it in really tight when you do it like that, because otherwise you miss a stripe on the inside of it, which is a little bit of a nuisance at times. Right, we'll bring you over here, and then adjust, and then go again. Right, that should be, yep, that's spot on right there. Okay, what have we got? Maybe 3 passes left to finish this bit? And then that bit's done, and we can get our landscaping going. We'll need... well, we'll want the stump grinder on first, because the landscaping doesn't have the ability to remove trees. So it doesn't have the ability to remove tree stumps either. I am actually disappointed about that, and I know that there are several others who feel the same way. It's disappointing that they haven't added such features into the landscaping as standard, that you can't just go along and remove a tree with the landscaping and remove a tree stump with it, or add in trees and tree stumps and stuff like that. I honestly thought when they first announced the whole landscaping thing that would be just some standard, that would be like standard features that they would put into it, that you would have all of these abilities to add and remove trees as you saw fit, and add and remove a whole load of other bits. So I was quite disappointed that they didn't put those in. I'm still waiting for some mods that will add more of such features into it. And I'm also looking forward to seeing mods that are like excavators that use the landscaping and somehow turn it into an excavator, or even just on a front loader or something, whether that could be a thing. I don't know if it's even possible. I don't know if it would be possible to code that into the game or not. I think it's something that... It'd be one of those things that might work, but could potentially be rather game-breaking as well. It definitely feels like something that would have the potential to break your game completely. So I'm I'm a little bit cautious about whether or not I'd want to see it or not. I think there's a little bit there of grass that we want to just go over. I'll bring this one up here. We've got a little bit here that we just want to tidy up. Like that. And then I come back round here. And I've got one little bit up through here. That's about it there, I think. That's it for that. And then there's a little bit just over to the side that we want to have the grass seed spread on. So we'll make sure that we do that. First up, let's run over here and we'll dump off this one. And we'll get the bio belts again. So bring you up this way. And I'll back you up there like that. Lower you down. Right, stump grinder first. That's our first tool that we're going to be using. Then we will go and get the cultivator on for doing the cultivating afterwards. I'm not going to change over and put the front links back on. I'm just going to leave our tractor as it is, because taking front links on and off continuously, that's definitely not a realism thing, is it? That's not even close to a realism thing. Right, let's just stop you there a second. And there's a couple of little bits that I want to do. First up, take you, and there's a little tiny strip right over there that is grass that I think needs a bit of attention. So or should be grass. It's ready to plant. So bring you over here. It's that little tiny bit right there. I'm just going to go over like that. And then I'm going to come over this way and I'm going to put the hired help going again, because we've got this little bit right here that isn't quite finished. See this bit right here? Although he came to the top and he stopped and he didn't go any further. So actually, I'll tell you what, we'll come out of there and we'll just stop you. And then I'm going to stand over here. We're going to go into landscaping like that. And we're going to come over and we're going to have a look. So we've got a bit there, but to start with, the brush strength is fine, but I'm going to lower the radius right down. I noticed this when I was doing my little trial run, that it was way too big as it was. So to start with, we want to lower it down, which we have to do like this. And you can see right there, we've uncovered a stump already. Don't remember if yet there was one more over there. And you can see, depending on where you actually activate the mod. There's another one. There, and should be one here somewhere. There's one there. I don't think there's any more than that. Right, that's that area there. So we're going to come out of this for a second, and we're going to go over to the bio belts, and we're going to use this one. So we've dug some holes down, and we've exposed some more of the tree stumps. And then what we've got to do after this is we've got to restore the ground to its original level before we start ploughing it all up. That's going to be the tricky bit. Right, that's going to be the bit that we're going to find particularly difficult. Right. That one. Turn you off a minute and go over down here to this one. Right, because you can see here it's really, really rough ground now. So I'll start that one up there. And you can see it sort of does it in sections. So it may not necessarily dig everything off. So what we'll do is we'll remove these two stumps, the remaining two stumps here. Then we will go and try and do a little bit more digging. Just lower down a little bit more, just to make sure that we've actually completely gotten rid of it. There. Right. Because that's the important thing, is we want to actually remove the stumps completely, so that the hired help does do what it's supposed to do. And if it doesn't do that, then it's going to cause us some issues. So let's move you up there out of the way. Like that. I'm going to stop you there. Right. Now, we go back to our landscaping over here. And I'm going to lower it down a little bit more. Right, those two are gone. That's gone. That's gone as well. So now I need to bring it back up to the level that it was at previously. And this is the more difficult bit. So what I'm going to do is press both mouse buttons together. And that flattens it and it brings it to a previous level. It's not perfect. It's definitely not perfect. I'm going to raise it a little bit there. See? It's definitely not perfect doing it like this. But it's about the best that we can do. Sort of bring that up like that. We're going to have to do a lot of... Because this is so steep right here, this is going to be quite difficult to get right. It's going to be worth it, I think, in the long run. What I'm gonna end up with quite a big patch of land right here that we're gonna have to use the smoothing feature with. And the smoothing feature is not quite ideal because obviously the more land that we work here, the bigger the area that we've then got to go back over and redo. Because I'm going to make this bigger now, like this. And then I'm going to use the middle mouse button like that. And this is where I increase the mouse strength as well. Change strength. Like that. Brush strength now goes all the way up to maximum. Like that. So you can see I'm making... It is going into a bigger area, but we're restoring the ground now to pretty much the levels that they were on previously. And yes, it's unfortunate that we're going to have to redo a very large area here. But I do think that it's worth taking the time to do this properly now, before we get any major issues come up with it. So we'll go over all of this here like this. There. Like that. And it is smoothing it out very nicely. I am going out around a very big area here in order to do this smoothing. But like I said, I think it's worth it. Right. I've got a bit of a dip down there, but I don't think that is anything to do with... Oh, no, there is some bits here that is to do with the land that was moved. Certainly was over here. It's better to take a larger area, I think, than have a smaller area. See, we got a patch right there that needs to be leveled down again. There, and brought up a little bit. Okay. I think that's about right. So we'll come out of there. Then I will jump back into you and lower that one down. And I'll unhitch. We'll go and get our cultivator. We will recultivate this bit. And you can see there it's nice and smooth. We had a nice smooth transition there coming down over the hill. That's absolutely perfect. That's spot on. That's exactly what we want. So if we can get that again, then I can just cultivate up that patch, and then I can leave the hired help planting grass back into that area, which is exactly what we're going to want. And then once we've done that, we can go and get started on the next bits over the other side of the big boulder. So I know that we've got a load of, we have now lost a bit of grassy, but I do think this is worth it. I absolutely think that this is worth, it's a price worth paying. Bring that up over there. So I'm going to cultivate in this little bit of grass that's in between these two sections here. Because why not? Right, lift you up. Bring you back round like that. And then bring it up to there. See, looking around, we don't have any uneven ground on it now. Right, there's nothing uneven on it at all. It's nice and smooth all the way round. Oh, actually no. Well, it's a little bit rough right there. On that little bit, then it made the tractor engine struggle a little bit, but I don't think it's enough that's going to cause us any issues. I think that's going to be just fine. So I'll bring you back over here. Okay, that's the outside round done. Just patching in this bit now should be quite easy. You up like that. And then lift. Back up across again. And then we've got our field. We have an actual field all done now, and we've removed the stumps from underneath. Yes, I think there is a slight bit right there. I think maybe I should have been a little bit more aggressive with my marking out. And right there as well. But it's a job to tell in places here if it's actually the landscaping thing that's doing it, or if it's just the type of terrain now with because you've got the cultivator going and it's ploughing up the ground. It makes it rough for the tractor when the wheels go into that bit. Right, the tractor moves around on that anyway. So it could just be that we're seeing, rather than any actual uneven terrain. I think it's very, very slightly like that in places, but I don't think it's too bad. So we had 4 tree stumps over this side that were below the level of the ground that we weren't able to see the first time through. And we can just say that, you know, in the course of ploughing up the land, we sort of pulled them up with the cultivator, or we hit them with the cultivator. So we marked out where they were, and then we've gone back and we've dug them up and removed them completely. That you know, reclaiming a piece of land is never simple. We could even say that it's not actually tree stumps at all. You know, we removed the tree stump because they'd be on the surface. We could just say that they're rocks. They might look like tree stumps, but they are actually rocks. If you're actually reclaiming a field and you're like carving a field from a forest from nothing, there's a lot of work that goes into doing it. I mean, I don't know if anybody's ever actually tried claiming a piece of land that has been weed infested for just a couple of years. If it's just been left to grow and is plastered in weeds for just a couple of years, even that can be quite a big task in order to claim it back ready for productive land. There's a lot of work involved with removing all of the weeds and the big roots that will have gotten established underneath all of those weeds, and a whole load of other issues as well. You invariably have rocks and stuff that have sort of worked their way up to the surface a bit, and a few other things as well have turned up, and it makes life difficult. Right, it's not an easy task to go and deal with, so we will leave that one right there a minute. I'll go and get the bio belts. We'll come back and we'll put this tractor going so that that one is planting seed down here. Just going to go and grab this one here a second, move it up near the other end so that we're ready to start doing our tree stumps up there. Would help if I steered it into the right direction. There we go. Right. I'll take this one up over here a minute, so it's out the way. Right, I don't want to get it too close to those patches for a second. And then we come back down over here and we get onto this tractor, and then we'll set the hired help going with it. I will manually do one pass up through there. And then leave the hired help, and he should, in theory, do all of this now. All of this should now be planted with our hired help. He should just go along and plant all of this little bit here with grass without any issues. There shouldn't be any stumps. There shouldn't be anything blocking him. And I'm looking, and it does actually look like, I don't know, maybe it's just the lie of the land. Just thinking maybe there is, No, it's just an optical illusion, I think. I thought maybe there was a bit just close to us here that was a little bit too uneven that had been made by the work that we just done with the landscaping. But no, I don't think it actually has. I think it's just the direction of the lines from the cultivating. So if I bring this one over to here and I press H on it like that, it should just go up through there. Now, there is always the possibility that we do actually have a stump or two on the end of our field over there, up through that side. I haven't gone and checked that on the map before I came along to it. So there is a slight possibility. There is a little bit uneven there. You can see it. It's just ever such a slight little wave on that. Anyway, I didn't go along and check the very edge of the field up along here, because I think there may be 1 or 2 tree stumps stuck in there that we've missed. So if I remember, if I get time, I will do that before we come back to doing this later on. Right, so next I want to move up here, and I also want to lower the brush strength down, so we'll go there, and I want to put that right back down to 0.1 again. And I want to shrink that one way down like that. Okay, so we've got a tree stump here somewhere. There. Actually went over that one. There isn't another one in that patch. And then in here somewhere. There, we got one right there. And then up here. There's actually 3 in this bit right here. Right? There, we'll uncover those. And then we've got this little patch right here. So there's 2 of them right there. Like that. There's one over here. There's another one right there. There's another one there. There's another one there. See? It surprised me just how many tree stumps were left in this little area here. I mean, look at that. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9 tree stumps right there. Plus, we've got 2 more over this side as well. So there's 11 tree stumps left in the middle of that field. So it would not surprise me if there was one down here somewhere. But obviously, I don't know where it is now. And I didn't check it. So I might do that between this episode and tomorrow's episode. I might just go along and double check that and make sure that we've gotten rid of all of the tree stumps. Because if there is something up the side there, that's going to cause us some problems. And I was saying that we'd fell a few trees up the side there, but I'm starting to think that the reason it was being difficult previously had nothing whatsoever to do with whether or not there were trees up beside us. I think it's because there'd be another tree stump there somewhere. That's my theory. I'm 90% certain that we've got a tree stump there somewhere, and that's what was causing it. We've also gotten stuck here, so I want to unstick if I can. Yeah, that's better. Right, now I'll bring that one over here, and we will back that one in onto that tree stump. Like this. There we go. So, these tree stumps, when I was looking at them on the test, when I was just taking a look to see what was here, and you can see there, I had some more wood chips. They were down into the ground very, very long way. Right? That they really did go into the ground by quite a long way. And I think that is partly why they didn't get cut off by the stump grinder, because I think up, down to a certain depth, I think they are supposed to cut off, but because they were right up on the surface, I think that stopped them from being cut off properly, and I don't think it was anything else. I think that's what was caused it. I think they were just a fraction too close to the surface. So I believe the way the stump grinder works is that if anything's below the level of the ground, it then decides that it's not supposed to be there, and it removes it completely. Like those 2 there, we just moved the entire chunk of it just then. And I think that's how it's supposed to work for all of it, but it didn't work for these because they were just a little bit too far underneath the surface of the ground. And that stopped the mechanism from working correctly for whatever reason. Right, there's a little spot right there that doesn't seem to work with the biobelts. See, if I do that, that removed the whole thing. If I do... Nope, that one's still got a bit on it. Yeah, right, we'll do that. So we've got 4 more. We'll dig down a little bit deeper. Once we've done this, we'll just dig them down a little bit more just to make sure the stumps are gone. And then we'll just get the leveling thing and level them all off. That's that one out. And it should, well, in theory, it should level off quite easily and quite well, and then we won't have any issues. Bring you back up here, and that will be our field all completely done. I won't be fast-forwarding any time. Well, we're not going to have time to fast-forward time at all today. We're just about out of time for this episode. If I can just finish off doing this little bit, we'll have gotten rid of the tree stumps, and then we can restore the ground to its previous correct level. Right, I think we've now removed all the tree stumps. We'll go over and we will just lower it down a little bit more to double-check. Shut you off a second. And then we'll go to start landscaping, and we'll bring this one over here. Right. Lower that down. I know I'm lowering it down quite hard, but it's working. There's nothing there. There's nothing under there. Right, I don't see anything under these now. That I think we have now cured the problem. So now I got to bring this level back up again. So I go to the leveling one first, the flattened one, like that, and I bring it up to a predefined level, sort of like that, ish. There, and I'll bring you up as well. I don't want to do this too much because the other one is the other function is going to work better than this. Bring that up. See, it is still leaving some dips behind, and it's not very good. Right. Okay, we'll go to that point right there. Now I will go like this, and if you look down in the bottom right-hand corner, you can see brush strength. Now we've moved that all the way up to 3. And I'm going to make that really big like that. And then I use the middle mouse button. And I go over it. And I'm going to have to enlarge the area quite significantly to go round. Which means that there is going to be a fair bit of work that we're going to have to do afterwards. But I want to make sure that I remove all traces of the holes that we just dug. So I am going to have to do it like that. So that's all traces of the hole there. And you can see here the ground, it goes very uneven, and it does spread out quite a long way outside of the area that we originally dug. Which is a bit unfortunate. It's just the way that the whole terrain thing works. So it's not ideal, and it is costing us a little bit of money as well, but I still say it's worth it. So I'll just extend it out a little bit around the outside of this area just to make absolutely certain that we do have every single bit of it. We've got very, very high brush strength on this, which means that it's smoothing it out really, really nicely. There. So that's now completely smoothed out. Next thing I want to do, I'm going to come down, I'm going to leave that one there where it is. This tractor has stopped, by the look of it. Is it completely finished? It's got a piece there. Oh, it's... Wait a minute. There's a tree stump in there. There's still a tree stump in there that it hasn't done. There's got to be. There's no other reason that it would leave a piece like that unless there was actually a tree stump in there. This is disappointing. I thought we had the tree stumps. And then we've got a bit over here. I thought we'd gotten down and we'd... This bit here I don't think has anything to do with tree stumps. I think this bit here is just because of... It got to the end of the line. So we'll just let the hired help do this. But we may have one more tree stump in that bit over there that we've still got to deal with. And you are coming up through... So are you dealing with a tree stump here, or are you just... I think he's just struggling to deal with the fact that we've got this big boulder here. I don't think this bit here is anything to do with tree stump. But I do believe that we've still got one in the ground over there. And we may have one on... We've got another long run. I don't know if there'll be one over there. And then, of course, I do also want to check the side of the map, which I will do before next episode. I'll just do a quick dig down through there without saving any progress or anything on it, and we'll see if we've got something over there. It's this bit right here. I'm a bit. This is the bit that's leaving me a bit suspect. But anyway, we haven't got time to do any more, so we will have to finish up this little project in our next episode. So if you've enjoyed this episode, then please hit down below and give us a like. And if you really enjoyed it, then please tell your friends all about me. Get them to come and watch as well. That would be awesome. And until next time, thank you very much for watching. This is Frithgar. Goodbye, and see you later.